Welcome back to Stay in Your Lane. I'm your host, John Maley. We're going to pick up where we left off last week. Got Glenn Kepke, Joe Lombardo here. We're talking about the changes of our industry from a transactional and a strategic business model. And where we left off, guys, was the technology has created different opportunities for all of us, for shippers, for brokers, for carriers, access to loads, access to shippers, access to brokers access through the network. Let me wind us back here a little bit. When I started, your network was as big as your Rolodex, right? And everybody you knew that had trucks or a trucking company that you did business with or you had trust with. So, for example, if I would get a phone call from Joe saying, I need somebody to pick up tonight at 8 o'clock and it's got to go to Phoenix, then I would start pounding the phones. Back then, we didn't have the technology we have now. And if there was no equipment available for anybody I had, I would actually at times have drivers at the truck stops in the area that I had on other loads looking for drivers and carriers that were available in the area to maybe see if they were an option, and did I have to get them set up, and what would we do, and how do we get some business references on them, and we would check the backgrounds and do those things. And ultimately that's the way the industry started. From many perspectives, I think that the technology has brought so much value from a technology perspective that I'm going to say that relationships are still required, and I believe that's the foundation for any network that is sustainable. But I would say the technology has made it so that relationships aren't as big of a scenario or a percentage for many shippers as they were, because now the numbers are endless at times. So we go from extremes in our industry where there really wasn't a spot market per se that we actually called a spot market 20 years ago. We didn't have so many TMS systems with spot market availability or any of those things. We didn't have that. So I think initially from a technology perspective, it brought a lot of monetary value and changed the playing field. From a transactional perspective in those markets or in those opportunities, I have seen shippers that have done bids and the market changed drastically, and they've taken all of their freight and immediately put it on the spot market and didn't honor any of their bid commitments. I could tell you previously, without this technology influence, that would not have been possible.
I maybe challenge that a little bit. So I think the concept, yes, spot market tools have, they exist everywhere. In fact, I helped create some of the early spot market tools, and that was a huge part of that kind of innovation. But at the same time, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was just a matter of the Rolodex, right? So spot bid is just a modern Rolodex. It's gotten bigger. We've also gotten a lot smarter and more sophisticated. But now we kind of see the companies that are maybe taking freight contractually, but then reneging on it and then going to play the game. The thing is that I'm sure happened 25 years ago. It's just a lot harder to chase it down and really see what was going on. And so, my take is the evolution of efficiency and automation has come a long way. It's going to continue. But the concept of finding carriers both on consistent freight and inconsistent freight, it's been there forever.
Oh, I agree. What I'm presenting is it's gotten more competitive in a lot of respects due to the tools and the technology that we have. I would say that is a true statement. It's gotten more competitive. But at the end of the day, if you're a shipper and you're wanting to build a network, whether you're a big shipper or a small shipper, there are going to be fundamentals that need to be involved. There, you need to identify your key partners from an asset perspective, key partners from a brokerage perspective. And then you've got to understand how you're going to fill those gaps around that. You're going to need to have a network that allows for competition for your business, where you can vet people, and maybe that be a small percentage of your network where you identify the lanes that are less time sensitive. If I'm a shipper and I say, who do I want to align myself with? Well, in a soft market, everybody says they want to be your partner, right? And in a tight market, everybody says they're busy, right? I'm not looking for you or your business, right? So if you're a shipper, the only time you have to make changes, successful changes, are normally in the softer market time period. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes, along with kind of the transitional markets, like when you start to, see the change, that's when the kind of breeds chaos and opportunity. But I guess one could argue, is it a capacity issue or is it a pricing issue, right? And it's one of the things I heard, a long time ago in my career is there is no such thing as a capacity issue. There's only such a thing as a pricing gap. And I think that holds true, right? Because not everyone, I should say, but many people are chasing margin in a transactional model. So if company A comes with, a load for $2,000 and company B comes with a load for $4,000, why wouldn't I make a larger margin? Sure. Right. And so I think, those are a couple factors that are there, something to think about too.
So let's wind the clock back, Glenn. How would that scenario have worked out 25 years ago or 20 years ago?
John, you're going to pick up the phone and, you're working at a shipper or a warehouse and you call Joe and Joe says, yeah, I got a truck for $2,000. And you say, great. And all of a sudden, I call Joe and I say, hey, Joe, I need this move $4,000. And Joe's going to call you back, John, and say, you know what? Sorry, I made a mistake. I'm looking at my paper and I didn't write this down. And unfortunately, that truck I thought I had, I don't have it. But your next one, give me a call. Right? You kind of put the phone down and, as long as you don't sense that pattern, you just keep moving, right? You had less options. And
okay. So I'm going to say at that point in time, the person that leaves the regular customer and takes the $4,000 shipment is starting a transactional relationship.
I don't know. It's an opportunity. I think it's just an opportunity cost or an opportunity revenue play. I mean, if you in Glenn's example, if it's 200% more, yeah, I mean, I would do it, but would I do it every time? Probably not. So, I mean, it depends on the relationship to begin with.
Right.
And I guess going back to someone made a comment about transportation being a commodity, I think in the first episode.
That was me.
I mean, like I said, every shipper has got transactional lanes and every shipper. And again, I even go to another point and say some of the lanes we had at Nestle, they were big lanes, Chicago to LA. I mean, we would ship hundreds of loads a week in those lanes. For me to cover those lanes and versus some other lanes that were more erratic and had other problems, I mean, the lanes from Chicago to LA, that was a commodity. I mean, and we treated it like a commodity. I mean, yeah, we made commitments to carriers and we kept them, but it was it happened every week, and we expected, and sometimes we played the market a little bit. If a guy had too much equipment in one area, he wanted to do a special for the weekend. Yeah, we would take advantage of that. I mean, at the end of the day, the shipper's there to save money. So that's as one of his goals, and service. So safety. I mean, it's all there. It's a balancing act.
I think what's key too, kind of what Joe's describing, is you got to separate what is a lane level relationship versus a network level relationship.
Right.
So, I think to me, what we're kind of intermixing here is, what's the marital status between a buyer and a supplier, right? And you can be a partner, a strategic player, a thought leader, fill in whatever adjective you want, and still have business that is transactional. That's simply because of the lane basis, right? And I think it's gotten a heck of a lot more sophisticated, in part because of technology and education and you name it. But understanding lane level profitability, I would argue was not nearly as important 20 years ago as it is now, right? And so what does that force is, hey, if customer A is going to give me 10 loads a day, and that's consistent business, that's consistent lanes, I'm going to be a strategic provider on that business. But if they call me Friday at 4 o'clock saying, hey, I've got 10 loads I need moved tonight or by tomorrow morning, and it's going to a terrible place and you're going to have to deadhead out of, you are no longer a strategic player. You're playing a commodity kind of market at that point. So I think one thing we got to keep in mind is logisticians is separate the network relationship from the lane level relationship. And at the end of the day, you still need the right provider at the right price at the right time to deliver the goods safely. And the right price varies, right? There is a play on being in the open market versus a contractual relationship that's out there.
Oh, I think that's a great way to summarize it, Glenn. So let's use me, Triple T, for an example. I'm a partner level provider, okay? And I don't mean a partner when times are good. I'm a partner when times are bad, right? So if you're doing business with me, we're going to provide 99 on the average. I'm going to say 99 because I don't think 100's ever attainable, even though we still try. The last scorecards I've looked at, we seem to be right at that 99, 98.7, 99.2 on our on-time delivery, okay? And we have a 100% acceptance policy here for our partners. Key there is for our partners. So as we navigate through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the industry, we're going to talk about what makes us different, what makes us a key partner that a shipper would want to work with. But I want to get into that on the next episode so that we can, I think this is great conversation we're having and getting different perspectives and different deliveries. But then I think at the end, we're going to end up at the same place. And we're going to have an outline that fits for most shippers to make maybe some modifications to, some tweaks to, but it'll provide them with a valuable, successful map to continually look at from a transportation strategy perspective and transactional perspective. So look forward to continuing on the next time we get together. And thank you very much for joining me. Joe, appreciate you. Glenn, thank you very, very much. I couldn't be happier with the two people I've chosen. So,
thank you, John.
We thank everybody for listening and watching, and we'll be back here next week. Thank you.